So welcome to another build that I brought over from Twitch. I used to build this once a month on Twitch. I've decided to bring it over to YouTube. Now I have a slight problem with this, but not enough to spoil the build. Because the pieces are large, it is a large model and you can't really build the pieces, so they give you pieces which you can't really do much with until you've got a collection of pieces. So what I'm going to do to play a little bit of catch up, I'm going to show you what I've already built. I'm going to show you the parts that I've put to one side. There will be some parts that I'm going to leave out because they will actually come into the build. So in no particular order, we have here this is the front wheel. So you've got the mudguard, I think they call it a fender. You've got some forks, you've got the brakes. There's about 3-4 different issues in there. Here you've got the handlebars, really nice, absolutely love them, but there's about 3 stages in there, maybe 4. So you know, that's a difficult one. You can't, I don't know how they're going to do, you know, how they would do it. This is, I believe, it's the front disc brake. This is a helmet. It's not really a build, and it's not necessary for the Harley, but it looked really good sitting next to it. This one came over about 3 or 4 stages. This is the fuel tank. You see there's a little circuit board in there. We've got the speedo. I've set the speedo for 0 because I'm going to have it as a static model. I did have a few problems with a couple of parts which I've replaced, and there you see you've got a working ignition. So that one's really good. So these are the parts that I've assembled. 30 issues, 9 packs, and then what we've got, if you excuse me for 1 second, these are the parts that we haven't used, which I won't be using in this video. So we've got a part there from issue 29. I did have these in some kind of order, but I found out actually my biggest problem is my tape, sellotape and masking tape is a low quality, so it doesn't really stand the test of time. So we've got there a part from 24. We've got some small parts there from issue 18. Is that a swing arm? I think that is, from 22. This looks like part of the frame from issue 8. I don't know what that is. I can't, it's on the wrong side to see the detail, but that came from issue 19. This looks like the air filter from issue 3. I can't remember. It's probably not an air filter. I probably just made myself look like a fool there. There's some parts from 22. Cannot remember what issue this came from. I've gone through the magazines. I can't locate it, but it'll turn up when it, you know, when it needs it. That's from issue 15, and that's from issue 12. This one is from issue 28, which was, I think, was the last issue that I did. And this looks like a back brake from issue 27. Now these are the parts that, oops, sorry, I've just knocked the camera. These are the parts that we won't be using today. There are quite a few parts that we will be using, but it's, as I've often said, oh, we also got some other parts. We got, this was a nice little gift, I thought was a nice touch. This is one of every single screw that we're going to use, so when it calls for a screw we can make a comparison. This was another free gift. They call it a screw box. I'll be honest with you, I find it useless as a screw box. We've got a battery box there, we've got some cable ties, we've got a belt there, and oh, we've got a sheet of stickers, probably too small to show you there, and we've got various screws. Now they don't label their screws. I am in the process of sorting my screws and putting them into a box, but that's going to take a little bit of time, and I found the best thing to identify the screws is one of these, a digital caliper, and you can actually get the screws out them and measure them, because for example we're going to be using 2 screws in this issue's build, and you can see there's 2 different screws there, but they're really hard to tell. But if you measure this one, that is a 5mm, and this one is a 4mm. So this is a C-type screw and this is an F-type screw, because by measuring it and comparing it to these, there's a C-type which is 5mm, and there's the F-type which is 6mm. I can't remember if I've done those measurements right. So what we'll do then is we will get on with this week's build, or this month's build. Now, I am a little bit behind on the builds, so I do plan to do this once a month, because they come monthly. If I did them weekly, if you get a stage where you don't do much, the video is going to be like 2 minutes long. So I was planning on doing them monthly, however, because I'm behind, I thought I'll do them fortnightly for a while. So firstly, what we're going to do, we're going to get stage 31, and we're going to fit the drive belt cover. So we require 2 C-type screws, which we've already got, and the left arm of the swing arm, which we got in stage 25, and that's this one. You see a nice big part. I think this is all that came with issue 25. I might be wrong. So we will get this out. There's only one part in the bag, so if it wasn't the only one, it's the last one that we're going to use. So we also need our parts, which is the belt drive. I keep missing that word, drive belt cover. So we will slide this out, and they are nice parts. I really am impressed with the parts. You see they've got the little bit of foam there just to protect the end. So that's a nice little touch. So we'll get that part out ready, and I'll keep the bag just in case. So what we need to do first of all, align the holes with the drive belt cover with the projections on the inside of the swing arm. So that's going to go like that, and we're looking for any holes. It looks like it's going to go, that's actually upside down, so that looks like it's going to go, that's interesting. Right, I've got that upside down as well. No, I don't know which way round. It does goes this way. Okay, so we've got two holes there, and we've got 2 locating pegs, and that's just, oh, I see. So we've got a total of 5 holes, 1 2 3 4 5, and they line up with the locating pegs, 1 2 3 4 and 5. Took a little bit of calculating on that one, and the main reason for that is, if you look on the picture, this part looks black to me, whereas it's actually silver on there, so it's a little bit difficult to align, but that's gone on fine. So we press down on the drive belt guard with your fingers so that the projections engage with the holes. The screw holes will be aligned. So they've put a circle around there, and we're pressing down there. Oh, I see, they haven't quite gone in properly. There we go. So as we're there, we might as well check all of them. So insert a C-type C screw in each screw hole, and they should be one there and one there. So there's my C-type screws, and we will just pop. Okay, don't like that head, so I will be using a JWO. Now this build does actually come with 2 screwdrivers. You don't get them with issue 1, they do eventually come, and you will get the screwdrivers before you actually start to screw anything. I'm actually going to change the head again to something a little bit bigger. I forgot this is a big chunky Harley build, so you need a big chunkier screwdriver. There we go, that's gone in absolutely perfect. So that is the JO screw, J0 head, sorry. And There we go. So that's gone in absolutely fine. Look at that. That's beautiful, isn't it? So, oh, that's come, feels a little bit loose. That has come loose. Okay, so that suggests to me that the screws there we go. We've got more. The screws haven't been. I screw until they go tight. Having said that, I may have just used the wrong screws. So we'll double check with this one. That's interesting. This is one of the problems with not labelling the screws. They just come in a pack. So I may actually have used the wrong screws. So I will, let's get the actual Harley screwdriver out. See if that makes a difference. It could just be I'm using the wrong screwdriver. So I've gone back to the original screw. Now I see. It was the correct screw, I just hadn't put it in far enough. So that was my bad. It's quite tough to get it in there, and of course once the screw goes tight you would think that's in fully, but obviously I always feel it, and because it went loose I could feel something was wrong. So there we go, that's in really well, that's in tight. So we did use the correct screws. Excuse me. Because it's metal I can get away with screwing this in really tight. If it was plastic I wouldn't over tighten. Okay, so that's the end of stage 31. So for stage 32 we received just the one part, which is a front wheel. I believe it's the front wheel because the title of the stage is front wheel. So we'll have a look at that. It does actually weigh an awful lot, and that's nice. They've double bagged it. Good strong plastic bags and double bagged. You can't really go, oh, I wish I could tell you how much that weighs. That probably weighs about the same as, I don't know, I can't think. Probably a good few pounds. So that's the front wheel. What we will also need is, hooray! Stage 1 we received this lovely front tyre, which we are now going to use. And we also require front wheels from, the front wheel parts from stage 23. I did put these together mainly because they're not going to rattle around then, and we also require 2 F-type screws. So what I'll do is I will open these. I have a feeling I'm missing a part, I think, because I know we did start to assemble some parts, but we only got part way through. So yes, the part that I haven't got out, which I'll get out a bit later, is this round part here. That's not going to be a problem because actually it's there. So we have already popped it on. Yeah, okay. So did I put that on? Was that meant to go? Okay, fair enough. So anyway, I've got this part out there. So I've actually shown you that part already because I thought it had already been built. So what we need to do is we need to take the wheel, and it says here that there is a right and a left side. So let me have a look at the instructions. There are 2 small asymmetrical projections located inside the hub which indicate the right and left side of the wheel. Okay. So this is the left side because those protrusions are downwards, and this is the right side. So let me get a piece of masking tape. Let's use an old, let's recycle, shall we? So if I put a piece of tape on the left side, We don't need to put it on the right side because there's only two sides, so it'll be left if it's got the tape, but if there's no tape there's right. So there you go, I've just popped a bit of mask. That's just for an identifier for me. So then we need place the front brake disc mount inside the wheel as shown. So that needs to go in like so. With a screwdriver, fasten two F-type screws into the holes in the disc brake mount. Okay, so I'm a little bit confused by that because we don't seem to be fastening any screws to anything. I can't believe I've just dropped a screw. The Harley-Davidson isn't as magnetized as I'd have liked, and I will be needing those. See, they're not going anywhere, so either they're the wrong screws or they haven't given right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to look in advance at the this is confusing me now. Alright, so if I pop that onto there, line that up. I don't see how we can put that screw in and then do the next stage, which I'll get to in a moment. Yeah, see what we're going to do, we're now going to put the tyre on, and without that fastened I can't see how those screws are going to stay in there. So right guys, so I'm just going to cut away for a moment, just try and find this screw. Okay, that was really lucky because that landed right in my field of view. I didn't actually need to stop the film to find it. So this is the screw that I just dropped. So I've also taken the opportunity to have a quick look at the magazine, and that's definitely an F-type screw. These are definitely the next parts, and I'm not comfortable just leaving this screw. As you can see, if I put that screw in there like so, you see it's just going to fall out. So it also doesn't say to fasten them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a compromise, and just like I have with the previous screw, I'm going to pop that screw in there just enough to bite. So that's in there. If we need to remove the screw we can do, but obviously we're going to fasten that next anyway. So the next stage then is the tyre, and now I've put tyres on before and you have to warm them. This one I don't know, so it tells us how to do it, so we'll give it a go. We can see we've got some lines there, so that's where that's going to line up. So oh, look at that, that's just gone on really well actually. That's gone on to, oh no, that hasn't gone on, it's just gone over. So I think what we're going to have to do is pull that right up and risk, oh no, look at that, that's gone straight on. Oh wow, that's sealed, because oh wow, if I can get that off. Right, I'm going to do that in reverse because that's amazing, that's physics at work. So when you haven't put this on, you see how flexible this is. It's a little bit stiffened at the edges, but as you see, it's you can squidge it. Once you put the tyre on, obviously because it's rubber, it makes a bit of a semi-airtight seal. And you have to keep pulling it backwards and forwards. Pull this outer one out and then pull it. Now, so you would think that with it, because it hasn't been pumped up like a conventional tyre, you would, but look, you can't move that tyre. I'm really amazed by that. Right, so that is that stage, and again, this is a little bit confusing. It says pushing the front wheel hub inner, which is this part, aligning the projections on the right piece with the holes on the left. So but it doesn't say to tighten, but you must tighten, wouldn't you? Because otherwise that's loose. So shall we just tighten that? I'm not going to tighten one screw, I'm going to do these evenly. And of course now we can't tell which is left and which is right. Oh, I'm a little bit worried by this, you know. That's quite a lot of screw turning. There we go. I mean, look, I don't know if the instructions aren't clear or if I've done this wrong, but I've screwed that in and that's fine. So left, right. So I'm going to keep my piece of masking tape on there because now this is the end of this stage, and it says to put that in, put it in a safe place. So that's that then. Okay, so for stage 33, these are the parts that we receive in this issue. Stage 33, and we should have 3 parts. Obviously, because we've established that they well packaged them. Right, there we go. We have, now it says type F screw, but you can clearly see there's 4 screws in there, and they're a mixed bag of screws. So maybe they've just been a bit generous. Now we've also got a left footrest. I'm struggling with this sellotape. There we go. So left foot, I've got to admit the detail of the chrome on this is amazing. Look at that. You can see my camera there. Look, that's how shiny it is. So there's the left footrest. Really nice. Really, really nice. I'm happy with that. And we have a cylinder mounting bracket which fits between the cylinders. I really should use a knife for this, shouldn't I? There we go. Doesn't look anything interesting until we get the cylinders on. So we will also need a type F screw, and the type F screw is a long one. It's 6mm long, which I have a sneaky suspicion. Oh no, sorry, we need 2 type E screws. Sorry, my bad. So type E is a black screw, 6 by 5mm. So what we'll do is we'll have a little look in our screw box. She says, tongue-in-cheek, and we're looking for black screws, which they're not. I have a feeling these are them. So type E is 5mm long. And that's more like 4. Let me measure it again. That's about 4.5. So I'll pop that to one side. And that's a 5mm screw. And I'll check this one that comes in the pack. That's more like 6. And then we got this one. That is more like 6. And that's 5. So what I'll do is I'll just make a small nick in the bag so that they don't come out accidentally. Double check in case I didn't get the same screw. Right, and then we'll look that they do physically look the same, which I believe they do. Okay, so there's our screws ready for this build. So the next thing that we need, obviously we've got the 2 type E screws. Okay, again this is making me confusing. You see here type E screws, they're silver, yet you can clearly see it's a black screw. That's a silver screw, that's a black one. So we don't know if that's a mistake, but what we'll do is we'll press on with the build and we'll see if actually we need what we need a black one. So we've got 4 cylinder pieces. This one came with issue 4. This is the right rear, sorry. Issue 11, that's the rear left. So let's go right left. This here one came with issue 10. This has a spring in it as well, and I can't remember what side it is. This is front left, so this will go this side. And this is the one that came with issue 2. So this should be the front right. So there we go. So we'll lay those out. So place the 2 right halves of the cylinder with the insides facing towards you. So these will be the right halves. So I will position these so that this is the front. So that's a front right. So this is the number plate, which is going to go back into the box. And then we have the rear right, which is going to go there. And then it asks us to insert the cylinder mounting bracket between the 2 cylinders, and that will go into these little holes. You see we've got 2 lugs there. One will go in there. That doesn't really want to go, and that one will go into there. Okay, and obviously it can only go one way because we've used the right halves. So yeah, that's not wanting to play. I'll give it a little bit of controlled force. I don't want to bang it, but if I wiggle it, it might just go in. Give it a gentle knock. Anything harder than that and you risk damaging it. So we'll see how we get on with that. So place the 2 left halves of the cylinders over the right halves of the bracket. So this one will be the rear left. So this is obviously going to go onto this one, and that's going to go on like so. That's not a fantastic fit. But once it, there we go, we've got to click it into place. And then the front left from issue 10, I want to open this carefully because there are other parts in here which I'll need to keep safe. You use terrible masking tape, cheap, it's kind of gone all crusty on me. So we've got here a 2 springs and 2 caps of some description, which at the moment I can't remember what they're for. So, and that one hasn't needed to click, but that's gone on fine. I'm not concerned with that. Okay, so place 2 E-type screws, E screws, in the holes highlighted in the picture, and it's actually highlighting there. Now on the picture it's got a black area, but on here it doesn't have a black area, so that's interesting. But I know there's going to be something going over the top of that. I'm a bit wary because this screwdriver doesn't seem as magnetized. This is the one we had a little bit of trouble getting the holder in. and as a result we're having a bit of trouble getting the screw in. Okay, let me pop one into there first to make sure it does actually work. There we go. So that's that cylinder in. That doesn't want to stop. I wonder if I've got the right screw. Now this one goes in and it does actually stop, but this one just screws on and on and on forever. So I'm going to just remove this screw and I'm going to try and I'll replace the cylinder. Maybe I've placed it in incorrectly. Maybe the hole is too big. Who knows? That didn't click that time. So maybe that's interesting. Okay, so I'm just going to go with that. I think as long as that's held in place, I think 'cause there's something going to go in over the top and there's something going in the bottom. But it looks like it should do in the picture. And that is it, my friends. That is all that they ask us to do. You can see now why I'm not going to do an issue a week, and even if I did do an issue a week, we only get 3 issues a month, so I would run out of things to do in the last week. But that is the build. This part's going to need to be put aside for another build. So yeah, that's it. So I will actually see you in 2 weeks, because I'm doing a catch up. I've got 3 months worth of issues to do, so I'm going to do one every 2 weeks until I catch up, and then it will revert to monthly. Okay, thanks for watching.